Hey, YouTubers! We're killing it this week. We got all sorts of goodies. Look at this rear end. We got a fuel tank. We got straps. We got compressors. We got an air dryer mounted. As well as we start our brakes. We might have brakes. You're gonna have to stay tuned and find out. Here's our gas tank. We're gonna start off with some 1 inch by 1 inch by 1/8 inch thick L metal angle bracket, whatever you want to call it, and some 2 inch by 1/8 inch thick flat strap. Plan? Not exactly sure. The thing really ultimately is to get the gas tank in this hole. So I think I'm gonna make a tray first, the size of this guy, make a box tray using this stuff, and then I'll figure out how to get that tray to mount in here attached to the sheet metal or whatever I can get, just not the frame, because I want the tank to stay with the car. So I can use my bracket we built, we could use the tubs, the sheet metal, anywhere other than the frame for now. Temporarily get it in there, and then when we sheet metal in around it, we can figure out how to get it in there properly. But I'm thinking for now, we make the box, tack it to here, and then maybe hang it off of here, and that'll work for temporary, or maybe permanent. I don't know. So let's start off by taking some measurements of the box, making pieces to weld together with our angle bracket. Shouldn't be too hard, right? Got us a box made. We come in yonder here. I also ground down the body. So I think I'm just gonna tack it right to it for now. I figure out which is center. Tack it right to that sheet metal to hold it for now. And I'll figure out another way to hold that front side. And then we'll take some brackets from the bottom of here to, I guess, our sweet old airbag mount. Heck yeah, seems easy. Doesn't seem like it'll be too hard. The hardest part is trying to figure out center in there. I added us on some brackets that'll weld right onto the sheet metal. Once it sits there kind of level, should sit like that, hold the back side up, and then we could figure out the front. I'm thinking I might go straight from the L metal right to our airbag or our air tank mount, because it's easy, simple. This was pretty easy and simple, and that's pretty much the goal of this entire car. Just have something freaking sweet for easy, simple, and cheap, right? Man, my hair's all over. All right, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna tack it in. The most part I'm worried about is level side to side. We'll figure out front to back later. One side. Simple, just like I said. Got a little tacky. Pretty good weld. Pretty good weld. Pretty good weld. Pretty good weld. Now we could just test fit to make sure the tank will fit, do what it's supposed to and stuff. Sure. Let's try it. And this is forever in my way, and I meant to put it on that side of that, and I forgot. Gosh darn it. Ha! Little rework. Extra work, mostly, but look at it. Bam! It's in there. It looks appropriate. It's actually pretty solid. I don't even have straps in it yet. Man, I'm thinking I kind of want to do some leather straps, like a belt. Just for some aesthetics, mostly. Man, this is awesome. Couldn't be more happy. Now I gotta figure out my tank stuff and my compressors and my air dryer. Now that I somewhat got placement where I'm happy with the tank and it's gonna be solid. Man. Alrighty, yesterday we got the tank a spot to live. That's what we're saying. Today we got to make something to hold it down. This is what I'm thinking. A belt. Yep. You know, something kind of like the way this one's looking. I like it. I'm digging it. I just got to figure out how exactly I want to mount it here. Got a couple ideas running through my head. Then I got an idea down there. You know. Anywho, we just got to figure out how to bolt it. And then we could just strap it down pretty easily. So to do this, I had to cut I had to go get two belts, and I cut this one in half. Well, more like thirds. It's less than half. So now I got to redo that with this one and try and get it similar. Figure out how I'm going to bolt it. You know, I don't really want to put a bolt through there because I kind of don't want to see it. I don't want to see the head. I'm kind of thinking about welding a bolt to the bottom, but then it's a pain to weld in there. But, you know, we'll see. It's gonna go some way. It's going in. I made a mark on the front where it goes down to how far. I gave it a little extra length, so we're gonna cut it there, and we should have plenty extra length on the other end too, so it's okay if this side's long. I got the longest belt I could possibly find at the Walmart. I'm just gonna cut it with some tin snips. I'm not saying it's the right way, but it'll work. See? Look, it's like scissors. Nom nom nom. Nom. Two pieces. Now we'll take them to the car. Got us our bolt, our strap, washer, and a nut. Boom! Man, does that look good. I went ahead, just welded a bolt to the bottom of the plate. Just like this. See it? And then there's our belt strap bolted to it. And it comes over yonder, and man, as it takes some stretch, to get them, so I think I got them in the perfect spot. I did scratchy this one. It'll be fine. I'll live. This one got a little scratchy too, but you know, looks great. Especially, you know, I look back, the first thing I see is them belt buckles. It looks awesome is what I'm saying. Better than I expected. So I think with this awesome feature going so well, time for a warm snack, keep my good luck going. And then we'll come back around and we'll start maybe thinking about our air tank and our compressors. Yeah, because there's not much space. We've got 2 compressors, an air dryer, the little block for all the air lines, and the controller thing. Man, we're running out of space. We got fuel lines and fuel pump to set up. Uh-oh. Progress is being made. It's working. It's not exactly how I wanted it in my nuggie, but it's going how it kind of has to be. There's a couple details that are just small and minor. I'm gonna have to live with it. It's nothing but a ching-a-wing. Here we are. Reconfiguration. The tank back in the center, which I like. That's a good thing. Compressors on the sides again. I got them mounted. That's where they're going. And let me tell you why. I had everything set here, and I had this one set here. Then I got my old fancy air dryer here. Man, that's a big unit. It was just too much in this corner. It was just too much. So what I'm gonna do is now put the air dryer over here where I originally planned, because there's more room. Sits here ish. The block, unfortunately, there's not much space up here for it. Not without getting in other details and other stuff that I want to get into. So I'm gonna put this block under here. I can still access it from the back seat, so it'll be in this area. We'll have a floor here, and I'll just mount it straight to the floor. And then all our air lines, they'll kind of be hidden. You won't see all them ugly junks. So that's also a good little feature. The ugly air lines are going to be less seen. But the cool stuff, like the compressors, the tank, it's going to be visible. It's saying, hey, I got airbags. Unless you got the cover on there, like I plan to have one day. But look, I like it. One thing that bugs me is that this compressor is facing this way and this compressor is facing that way. It has to go this way. Let me tell you why. Just let me tell you. Okay? This one, I flipped around. Well, if I flip it around, the brackets are too far the other ways. You know? And even if I flipped the brackets backwards, it would still put my screws too far off the hump, because this big boy needs air filter room. Dang. So I have to push it out. Dang. It's how that one has to go that way. So then I was like, let me flip this one around. I flipped this one around, and well, this big old knobby is gonna be in the way if I need to put my air dryer here. Okay? And this is where the air dryer's gotta go. It's where I'm putting it. It's where I originally planned. I moved it over here. You know, it is what it is. So it's going here. This one has to go that way. I'm gonna have to cut the plastic out to get the filter in on this side, but I put it as far down as I could to still give myself room for the air dryer, and I still need to give myself accessible to the tail light. So this is pretty much where everything has to sit. There is no wiggle room to just, you know, get it how I want it. It's going how it's gonna want to be. It wants to be, not me. Anyway, then in my knowledge of airbags, you got to get the compressors ran to the air dryer first before it hits the tank. And I don't like that this one's boom, straight shot, and then this one's got a whoop. So what I'm going to do is extend this hose the same length that I have to extend this hose to reach that, and then it's just going to do a little loop-de-loop up under the back seat. probably screw it to the bottom of the bracket. You won't even see it, honestly. So, here we go. That's what we're planning to do. I know it was a lot to take in, but it's looking great. Another little detail I noticed is, even with all the stretch I got on my belt here, she still will slip with the truck, man. So, to fix that, I'm taking the scrap pieces. Grandpa told me to do this. And just, you know, like, put a little loopy, a little eyelet thing, you know, and then the same thing on this side, boom. And then you can put these two together with a little, you know, little eyelet thingy-majigs. It'll look pretty decent. It'll hold the straps from going out, you know, they're not going in, you know, and if they do, it's not going far. It's still gonna hold the tank. But we absolutely cannot have a strap do this to us while we're doing a burnout. So we're gonna stay classy with our fancy dancy $12 belt and use the scrap pieces. But I need to go get some stuff to make that work. So that's what brought me to the airbags. And this is what's going down. I'm digging it. I like the tanks back in the middle, mostly. So since in here is starting to look so good, I gotta keep going and making the car look good. I'm kind of digging the thing. So, one thing been driving me nuts is the no wing. We've got this pretty big, awesome wing. Let's get her installed up in here, okay? So, we got 6 bolts, I believe. Let's look. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can count. I did go and get us some hardware, but they are a little long. So, we're gonna have to chop them down just a little bit. Not too much, but just enough so we don't poke out the top, you know what I'm saying? Oh, look at that. It's actually fine right there, especially with the layer of the metal on the thing, and then a washer that I got. Shoot, and I got some lock washers we can run. Sure. We don't have to cut them, never mind. Take it back out. Let's put a washer on 6 of these. And install this puppy. Dang! 6 bolts in. Put her down. Put her down. Dang! Yep. That's what it needed. It needed a wing. Now she's gonna be super fast. Why does it look so cool? Fat tires, wing. Yep. Since we're back here mounting stuff, might as well keep going. Make something for this. I want it in this area. I feel like if we just make a flat bracket that comes straight off the side of this sucker, boom. Drill our 3 holes. We could bolt it in from the back side. Nothing but a chicken wing. One slight little problem is the chunk of metal I planned on using, I used somewhere else. So now I gotta make more. The good thing is, remember that bracket I made for the block, for the air, you know, boop boop. Well, I'm gonna reuse it. Bummer thing is it's literally 3/4 of an inch too short this way. It's good this way, but it's too short this way. So, plan B, let's add 2 inches right here. If this was stacked on top of it, we'd have now an extra 3/4 of an inch. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna chop that off, weld that together. Then I'm gonna bring my air dryer over here, mark out my holes, drill them first, and then tack weld it in the car. so I know it's where I actually want it. Bam! Got a bracket, you know, a little grind and some paint. Make me the welder that I ain't. Let's come over here yonder way and do a little test fitty fit. See how she sit. Kind of wish she was a little taller, honestly, so I could bring it up some. It'd be all right. As long as I get my holes all the way up to the top of my bracket, we should have room on the bottom. For whatever that is, I don't know if that pushes air out or what, but I'd like to leave room for it if it needs to move. I don't know. Hopefully it's just there, you know? Got us a beautiful bracket. Man, is it beautiful. I rounded the top corners so they don't cut your wrists when you're bolting her in. Wander over yonder here and we look in the hole, and man, I already grounded off the floor stuff. This sucker's gonna sit, boom. Boom, baby. Like this, right there. I like it. So I'm gonna send it, and I'm not gonna bend it. Got some ugly tacks, tacked it in 1, 2, 3 times. I think that's all it really needs, because man, look, that's pretty solid, you know, and I don't think the air dryer moves that much. So I think that's good enough bracket to put the air dryer in. Yeah. I got all the bolts in it, but one of them's tight. Bam, look at that. She got a little wobble. Not too much. If it drives me nuts, if it makes sound, we could just take a little bracket from back here to the wheel well or to the side here. Something. We could put a triangle down to the floor. There's a couple ideas we could make it more solid. For now, I'm gonna leave it because I like it. Hopefully my fittings I get aren't gonna interfere with my tank here. But you know, if they do, we just move that sucker back some and deal with it. I'm liking how this back end is coming together. Everything's fitting. Not exactly how I wanted, but it's still fitting. That's the most important goal here. Moving forward. Do I know what I'm doing? No. Just thinking, mostly. I came up here and I did some looking. The heater stuff, which is, you know, the controller. I'd like to keep that cable working. So I think, I could be wrong, I think if I can get that bolt right in there to mount this, and then take all this out of the way, move the fuel lines, because they poke up back here, and we could make a little mount that just whoop comes up and right in there. And then our heater core lines can go whoop right over here to our little valve and majiggy for the heater. Then we'll have to figure out how to get this side, dang, you know, whether we take it over here to the engine, or we take it all the way to the radiator. Either way, we just have to make a circle between the heater core, the engine, and the radiator. It's got to make it flow somehow. No big deal. So I'm liking that, other than the fact that if that ever leaks, it's gonna drip right on our distributor. But there's really no other good place to put it with the length of the cable that we got. So it's gonna have to be. So that moves me on. I got drive shaft, brakes, clutch, and this thing's pretty much drivable, you know. I'd like to have the actual radiator I'm gonna run. Oh, and a stick shift. I need to make a stick shift. But those 4 things, and we're really drivable. I mean, 5 things. The steering. I gotta reconfigure my steering, because remember I took that apart when I put the big block in. Shouldn't be too hard. We got our shaft, still got room for that part. It's actually laying on the ground down here. Pop that through, and then our other end's up here. We just have to figure out a good mount in here somewhere to hold this shaft from doing whatever the heck it wants to do. That shouldn't be too hard. I gotta figure out, I gotta get some material for that. So that moves me on to, you know, brakes and clutch. Let's get the old stuff out of the way. I'll come in here. I haven't even really looked in here. All right, what are we even looking at? I don't know, because I can't see. Now that we have some light, looks like we got a couple bolts here. Oh, that's a clutch. Okay. Yeah. Looks like there's one that holds that on. Maybe 2? Yeah, 1 on each side. Then there's 4 for the brake booster. And then I don't even know how that detaches from the brake pedal, but we'll figure that out. Oh, it looks like just a cotter pin and a pin. Super easy. Get that out the way. So it might be easier than I thought. Might just have to build a bracket for the old Caprice booster, you know, because it's a bigger frame, bigger brakes. That's why I'm thinking I'm needing that booster. But I built a bracket to make that fit, and then a longer rod straight to the pedal. Easy. Probably not. Popped right out. Man, there looks like there's so much more room without that out, with it gone. That's what I'm saying. There's like room for activities. So now I can start thinking, I'll remove this, the clutch, cylinder stuff, and then we'll think about our brake, and you know, we might have to cut a little bit of this metal out for our new one. And maybe same here, we might have to cut some of this firewall. I'm hoping not. Maybe it'd be easier just to whoop, bring this hole down a little bit, and then you know, we'll figure it out. I'm gonna have to steal the ow. Oh, that was an ankle killer. Oh man. It's all right, I'll live. Oh, okay. So that one's mad I took it out. I'm gonna have to get the one out of the Caprice to even think about sizes. So I'm gonna stay on this one and do that clutch first. Figure out maybe what I gotta do. But I can't put that one in until I have the brake, so I might be going and getting the brake this afternoon anyway. First thing this morning, I went to the Caprice and pulled out the brake booster. Man, that thing is full of mice already. Not the airbag one, the 4x4. Okay, the 4x4 Caprice. Anywho, here we are. Here's the old Civic one. Here's the Caprice one. Much bigger. This one I measured, I put it up to its side, kind of put a level on the top. This one's about 9.5. This one's about 11.5. So, definitely gonna go with the bigger one. But with doing so, that adds quite a bit of more work up here on the front end. But I don't think it's too hard of work. It's just time consuming. So here's what I'm thinking. First things first, the old, you know, strut mount, it's gotta go. We gotta slice and dice this sucker back, get it out the way. We gotta take this out of the way because we're gonna need it out of the way for the clutch eventually. Then you could see our hole back here. What I'm thinking is maybe making a square, cutting a hole in it, drilling holes in it, bolting it there, extending that sucker out as far as we need to make clearances for the big boy, even if I might not even have to. It might just fit in there already. Maybe worst come to worst, we just have to lower the holes on the bottom or something and extend this hole. That's just my thoughts here, okay? But anywho, we're figuring out how to get that brake booster in this area. This master will just boop, bolt right to it because it used to bolt right to it. Then with our clutch, similar things. We're just gonna re-drill the holes, make a bracket to make it fit, extend our rod if we need to. Shouldn't be too hard. Just time consuming and boring. Anyway, let's get to cut some shit. Where am I gonna cut first? Sure. Sure. I jammed her up real good. Ah! It's all right. Oh, she's warm. Idiot. Should have known that. See you later, alligator. Don't be a hater. So, we're here. Yep. All that screaming and yelling kind of got us some action. Look how much more room we have. Let's figure some stuff out. This is actually gonna work. Look at this thing. If I could grab it one-handed. Stick her in the hole. I think, by the looks of it, we might be able to use the top two holes and just move the bottom ones down. And maybe take a sledgehammer clearancing tool or cut it if we have to, but I think we'll be just fine. I think Honda knew I was gonna put a Chevy brake booster in here. Takes up a lot of room. Might have to shift this over something. I didn't quite look too far into that because my main thing is the brakes, because that's more important. Gotta be able to stop it before we could go. Safely anyways, because technically you gotta go before you can stop, but anywho. This is more important to go first to me because steering needs to work around it, clutch needs to work around it, and those are easier to kind of get out of the way, in my opinion. Looks good. I think it's gonna work. Might just have to re-drill some holes, spread the top ones out a little bit, move the bottom ones down. It might just bolt right in. I don't know about the rod length yet. I have to measure those. Might have to shorten this one. If not, maybe I just build a bracket so the rod sits relatively the same length, you know, and I don't even have to move the bolt holes at all. It's just, I just pushed it out because of the rod length. So, I figured that out. I gotta take a measurement of where this mounted to where the bolt hole is and do the same on the other one and see how close we are and if it's necessary. Bunch of measurements and a bunch of thinking and a bunch of looking. I found a little scrap metal that I was able to chop up. It's a little thicker than I wanted to use, but it's what I got and I don't have to go anywhere to get it. It's a little rustier, but we'll clean it up. Here it is. This is what I got. This is my little box. It's right where I want it. After all my math, I needed to be 1.5 inches thick. I'm an inch and what is that? 9/16. Yep. She's a little thicker than I needed, but not too thick. If anything, it might have, you know, the brake pedal be back a little bit, but you're not gonna really see that 1/16 of an inch down there. And I might have to adjust my brake light switch, but I think the 1/16 extra is not gonna hurt at all. Anywho, let's move it on. I'm gonna weld this sucker up. I'm gonna figure out where to put my holes, and then maybe we could get this sucker mounted or close to, because I might need some bolts to be able to mount it to the firewall. I got us all welded up, and then I did some, oh man. Then I had to do some slicing and dicing. I had to take the corners off because there's a little bump in the firewall. No big deal. Still got plenty of meat. Center. Obviously I need center for the hole, which I also need to move down just a little bit, because when I move this side, the big side, I'm gonna move this one down just a little bit. That way we got more clearance on the top side for the firewall. I don't know how much I'm gonna move it yet, so that's why I'm starting with the firewall side. The bolt holes, they're gonna stay the same. It's just the center hole that's gonna move down. Okay? You follow? Okay. So that's why I got these arrows. The arrows say drill here. This one says move down. And I don't think I need to move it much. You know? See what I'm saying? But I am gonna drill it to where I could test fit this sucker right on here with this thing. That's what I'm saying. Might not be able to do that because I don't know if I'm going to want to drill the hole on this side yet, because this side looks much bigger. Much bigger. Well, it's about the same, so we might be just a-okay. Got us a center hole both sides. I went a little bigger on my hole saw than this thing because, well, that's the size I had. I used a 2-inch. You know, man, I popped the center all the way through with a longer drill bit, and then I already knew where to drill on the other side. But check her out. Look at this. That fits. That's right where I need it. It's gonna fit around everything. The bolt holes line up. I also have more room around it, so if I do end up moving this sucker down just a little bit, we should still clear it. You know, and it's nothing but taking a little more slice out of it if we need to, but I don't think we'll need to. Cause man, check her out. Golly. As usual, things change very fast. You know, I did my first test fit, hit the dang firewall on the top. So I said, man, I gotta make some adjustments. So I had to cut my bracket apart, re-weld it together. But here we are. Let me tell you, it fits. I do gotta shorten these up so I could get a nut on them. But it does go on there. It sits all the way back. These holes do line up to the firewall. So we're killing it. That's what I'm saying. I just have to find some bolts to weld to them puppies. But for now, man, the brakes, these are almost goods. Almost. With the way I had to move this bracket, you know, you could see my hole. was here. I had to move it down. So that now moves the hole in the firewall a little down, and that's where I'm about to get messy there. So I just gotta cut a little hole. Right here. Just gotta bring her down. I obviously don't wanna go too far because I don't wanna get them into my holes. I still wanna be able to use them. But I do need to bring this down so I can work my new brake booster. The nice part, instead of just cutting like a wild mangy animal, all I gotta do is use our template. Just line up the holes, use the Sharpie, and, you know, draw a line, something like that. Holy cow! Golly! Grab the beaver saw, cut us out a nice old hole. Don't look too bad, actually. I test fit our bracket. Man, I'll tell you what, our holes in the firewall need wobbling out, or our bracket need wobbling out. But what I'm saying is it's gonna fit. It's gonna be pretty good. I'm digging it, is what I'm saying. The only bummer part is I don't have bolts or all-thread or anything that I can weld to put our little stubbies in there to be able to get them in there, so. And I'm running out of daylight, so by the time I get back, I won't even be able to get it together in time for a video, so. What I'm saying is we killed it this weekend. We got all sorts of little brackets mounted, and we're getting all the stuff that takes just a lot of time that you really don't want to do anyway. Brakes though, very important. Next weekend, we're gonna have brakes and probably a clutch too, so you're gonna have to stay tuned. Please like, comment something, subscribe to the channel. Come back next week. Thanks for watching this video.